Hey guys, I'm Brittany from Acre Roots, where we talk about growing a lot on a little bit of space, and today we are doing our peak summer garden tour. It is currently mid-August in Maryland Zone 7A, so things are about as big and crazy as they are going to get right now. It's about time for me to start getting my fall garden in, so that means I'm going to be switching over some of my beds, and I wanted to document how everything has grown this summer so far before I touch anything. It has just stopped raining all day here in Maryland, which was actually kind of nice because it's Sunday and we didn't have much going on, so we were just being lazy and doing errands and stuff, but I was itching to get out and do some stuff in the garden, just some minor cleanup after all of the rain. So that's what we are doing now. I have done nothing to clean up the yard, so there's stuff that's flopped over. There's some stuff that's a little bit overgrown because of the weather, but we're just gonna take a look at how things look now, starting back in the corner of our yard with our in-ground growing beds. So this area, we have 2 rows of asparagus, and as you can see, they have completely ferned out, and we've got lots of berry production on our female asparagus plants, which means that we will be able to harvest some seeds from those. Ooh, look at this. We've got a leaf-footed bug right there on the plant. I just did an Instagram post about some different bugs and what I do when I see them in the garden. And I said that with the leaf-footed bug, if I see just 1 or 2 of them, I'm usually just gonna leave them alone. So I am going to be true to that promise here. So a female asparagus plant will produce seeds. It will self-seed everywhere, or you can save them and start your new plants, which I have done many, many times. So I'll probably come in here and chop down some of these ferned out areas on the female plants that have seeds on them, just so they don't go too crazy with reseeding. But otherwise, our asparagus has ferned out beautifully this year. We have a new thing for the garden this year. We have some corn. Now, this was honestly, I did not plan to grow corn. It needs a lot of water. It takes up a lot of space. But I think I'm gonna add it in the future now, especially over here, because it makes a really nice trellis for some of my black-eyed peas to climb up. And it's just kind of like a nice end cap to these in-ground growing beds. And we've already harvested a couple ears of corn here. We have a couple more corn here that are ready to harvest. And the whole reason why we decided to grow corn this year is because my daughter brought home a single corn plant from school and really wanted to actually get corn. So I thought, well, we can't just grow one thing of corn. So we went out and got a couple hybrid varieties of a corn. I don't even remember what it was because, again, this is my first time actually growing corn. So it has been fun. It has definitely been fun. You can tell a definite difference with how shallow and poor the soil is over here compared to how the plants are doing as the soil improves over here. So over here, as you get really close to like the side of the RV pad and the patio, there's like a lot of gravel in this soil just from when everything was poured. Usually things don't do super great over here, which is obviously the case with these 2 corns here, which aren't doing awful, but the ones that are doing the best are over here. And it's been a great way to throw in some extra black-eyed peas. That's what's growing below the corn and climbing up it. So yeah, I'm really happy with how this has turned out, and I can't wait to taste the corn. I'm gonna have to figure out what stuff like this means. Like this half little corn up here on the corn hairs. Like I'm so new to growing corn, I have no idea what that means. So we'll have to figure that out. Over here next to it, usually we do all sweet potatoes in this whole row. But this year we have a combination of some dragon beans over here that I just had some extra seeds for, a bunch of black-eyed peas, which honestly, they took over a lot more than I thought they would. I wanted to try them this year because they are a great nitrogen fixer and they are super drought tolerant and pretty prolific. As you can see, that is definitely the case. I did put them in places thinking that they were more of a bush bean because that's what the package said about this variety, but I had to throw in a trellis because they are really going kind of crazy with needing some sort of support. But I'm really pleased with how these have grown here. I will show you what the actual beans look like in a second on some of the other black-eyed peas I have over in the raised beds. And then we have 1 little sweet potato plant here. This might actually be 2, I can't remember. I am trying to conserve space by adding in this A-frame trellis to kind of keep some of the foliage up off the ground, but I'm gonna let it ramble a little bit more down here because I have 1 succession planted cucumber here that I'm about to rip out the first of my cucumber plants because they're just getting kind of overgrown and yucky. So I've got this one in the ground right here, and then I've got another little baby cucumber that I started over here that I will succession plant because we still have plenty of time to get some more cucumbers. The last tour I did, I think I said I wasn't really sure how the like bean growing contraption tower thing I got was going to work out. So far, I'm really pleased with the use of space here. This is a lot of bean plants on this, and if you didn't see the previous video, I'll show you kind of what it looks like. So it's like a metal circle down here, and then there's a pole that goes up through the middle, And then there's a metal circle that's completely buried with beans at the top. And then there's just twine going all up and down around it. And then the beans climb that. I planted these green beans later than the ones I have over on our cattle panel trellis, so we haven't started to get any beans from these, but I am hoping we'll start to get some great beans from this as the others are starting to look a little bit gross and getting difficult to pick. So just trying to get better at timing some more of our plantings to make sure we are maximizing our space. And over right by our little bean trellis, we have our second GreenStalk that I decided to convert to a complete strawberry GreenStalk. So all of the strawberries in this GreenStalk were propagated by me this year from my main yellow strawberry GreenStalk using these little cups and runner pins here. Aren't they so cute? So when the strawberries throw out runners, you just gently pin it down into these. They root in place, and when they develop roots, you can just trim them off and pot them up elsewhere. And it's a really effective way to control the runners on your strawberries while also being able to pass them on to others or plant them somewhere else. I have been potting up all of my extra runners here just to share with other people who want strawberries. This is a variety Gurney's Whopper June-bearing strawberry, so it's a really great strawberry for the home garden. I think what I'm going to end up doing is moving the GreenStalk, the pink strawberry GreenStalk, the yellow strawberry GreenStalk, and our magenta one over here all over to the RV pad next year, and having my husband run the irrigation all the way over here just to free up some space on the greenhouse pad right here. I just really feel like they're not getting their maximum sun exposure, what with the crazy honeysuckle vine here kind of shading them out, and then being so close to one another, and then the greenhouse shading them out later on in the day. So when the plants are smaller in them, it's not a big deal, but once they start getting big, they start to, I really notice a difference if I'm not spinning the GreenStalk regularly. And since they are on irrigation, I'm not spinning them every single day because it's a little bit more of a pain. Over here, we have our ever-bearing strawberries. So these, I just picked a bunch of these, and then there's some red ones that are popping up here. I am going to kind of bury these under the leaves so the birds don't see them as easily, since there aren't that many here. But when there are a lot that I want to protect from the birds, I can just pull this cloth over these hoops that I have in here. I find that having the strawberries up in an elevated bed like this definitely helps with preventing critters and pests and whatnot from getting to them. So this is obviously all impervious surface with our greenhouse pad here. So my goal is to move the strawberry bed down a little bit and then have my 3 GreenStalks here, and then have our 2 pots with sunchokes here. So everything in containers all together, and then run the irrigation to this as well. It's already run to the GreenStalks, and then kind of just maximize this space over here since we're not planting or parking or really doing anything on it. So that's how those things are looking. I'm not even gonna show you guys the inside of the greenhouse right now because it's pretty much a dumping zone right now. It's so hot in there every single day. So we'll come back over here to the view of the raised beds if you're back by our rain barrels back here. So this view is probably one of my favorites in the whole garden. It's so pretty, especially when the sun is setting back there. It's just beautiful sunsets, beautiful vibes from this side of the garden. This coneflower is flopping over a little bit, blocking this path from all the rain we got, but I've loved having a coneflower here. It just kind of anchors all of these perennial herbs along the house nicely and adds a little bit more color into all of the green stuff I've got growing here. This is a mountain mint I added in here to attract more beneficial insects to the vegetable garden because that's always what I want to be doing, not using sprays or anything, just kind of letting the ecosystem take care of itself by attracting the good bugs to help me with the bad bugs. But it's gotten a little overgrown here, so I got to come in and trim this up when things dry out a little bit. We have also got, what did I have in here? I think I had a holy basil in here. I am slowly clearing out this bed here to seed some of my fall crops. So this is the pole green bean section that I mentioned on our cattle panel trellis earlier to come in here and pick now that the rain has subsided. But these were the ones that we planted first, so they are definitely the ones that are more mature. We've been picking off of this plant for probably a couple weeks now. And I think this is a this is a Blue Lake variety I think we planted this year. I have both of the seeds and I just grabbed one and threw them in. But they have been pretty prolific and pretty yummy. This is like our 3rd or 4th year with this cattle panel trellis, and it has held up really, really well. I also threw some extra peppers back here, which aren't doing nearly as well as the peppers I have elsewhere in the garden. I do have a couple big ones I have to come in here and pick. But I think just as the green beans got so big, they really started shading things out. But that makes this a really great place for some of the heat-tolerant lettuce varieties that I seeded back here, because even though they are heat-tolerant, they still appreciate a little bit of shade in the super hot, super scorching sun afternoons here in Maryland. The other side of the cattle panel trellis has a sacrificed tomato plant. So whenever I find hornworms on my tomatoes, they turn into the 5-spotted hawk moth. So they are a very important member of our ecosystem, but I also don't want them eating all of my tomatoes. So every year I propagate a sacrificed tomato plant that I relocate to them too. I haven't found a single one this year though, so that's pretty interesting. I know I'll probably find one now that I said that, but I have not found a single tomato hornworm on my tomatoes this year. Over here we've got some more beans that are kind of catching up. We've got lots of pickling cucumbers. I grow exclusively the Burpee Party Time hybrid cucumbers because you can pick them when they're super small. You do not have to peel them. They're not spiky at all. They're nearly seedless. They're delicious. They're perfect snacking cucumbers, and my daughter will eat them. So that's what's really the most important when I'm looking at what I'm going to grow. This right here it's actually 2 separate pepper plants, a ghost pepper and a Carolina Reaper pepper. And both of these, I saved the seeds myself and started the plants. So I am super excited to see, look at all of those ghost peppers. And I've already picked probably 5 off of this. I really like these hot peppers for making my own hot pepper mixes, like crushed red pepper mixes, except for a little bit spicier. And then this over here is the Carolina Reapers. So they are not as prolific, but still producing enough to make me very, very happy about what I'm going to get from them. This is another view of our cucumber kind of going out of control. So you can see what I mean by we're getting to the point in the garden here where I'm just kind of letting things go. And I'm picking what I can pick, and I'm just kind of letting nature have its way by this point because it is hot, it is humid. Other than today, it's been very dry and pretty insufferable out here. So even though I have things on irrigation, you can see some things are starting to suffer a little bit. This bed right here is where I have my 4 pole tomato plants. I have my yellow pear here, which is just kind of spilled over the edge here and is kind of trying to take the pole with it. I've got a couple other varieties in here. Sun Gold and Super Sweet 100 are 2 of my favorites because they're just like the best snacking tomatoes. I've got 1 Swiss chard back here. I love Swiss chard because I find a great green to grow pretty much all throughout the season, but no one in my family really likes it. So I only did 1 plant this year just so I wouldn't be completely drowning in it. And then over here, we have got some of our Heirloom paste tomatoes. These are Roma tomatoes. These I'm probably going to get about 50 tomatoes and then pull the plants. I pull them as soon as they are starting to ripen, and then I let them ripen on the counter inside. So you can see we've got loads and loads and loads of green ones, but the plants are also starting to look a little bit sad, which again is pretty normal by this time of year here in Maryland. I try to keep up on pruning, but it gets so humid that a lot of the bacterial issues can start to spread. And I just kind of expect it every year and figure that if I'm getting 50 tomatoes, it's still worth it. This is a swallow eggplant that I just picked a couple eggplants off of, so you can't really see what they look like, but this one is doing really well despite some early season flea beetle damage. I've gotten a lot from it. And then this is what our black-eyed peas look like. So when the shells, I'm not going to pick them now because they're all soggy. I'm going to let the sun dry them tomorrow. But when they get brown and kind of crunchy, you pick them off and they're super easy to shell. They're super efficient because they're so long and they have so many beans in them. But this one is pretty loaded with pods. So I'm thinking we're going to get a really good harvest of black-eyed peas this year, which is fantastic. We will have good luck for the new year with our homemade black-eyed peas. And then speaking of eggplants, this is a bed I'm going to be clearing out very soon. The flea beetle pressure in this bed has been pretty bad because I don't spray or anything and I did not cover these. But despite the flea beetle damage and pressure, we have gotten tons of gorgeous eggplants. These are Chinese string eggplants and they get quite long. They'll get a little bit longer than this too. Let's see how, yeah, this one's a good example. They get very long. They're nearly seedless. They're great to chop up and use for stir fries. So we've gotten quite a few from these plants already. I have 5 plants in this bed. So I will probably clear this bed out sometime this week to put the cauliflower that I just picked up today. I picked up some starts for my cauliflower because I forgot to start the seeds. But they're gonna go in this bed because I have a mesh cover for this bed, and I feel like that will be a good compromise for growing cauliflower and not having to deal with all of the pests that you have when you are typically growing cauliflower. Over here, we have what has turned out to be a very pleasant surprise. I don't know if you guys can even see, this is the Vago children's bed actually, but it's an awesome size for tomatoes. And I've got a trellis attached to the back that is so covered by tomatoes right now, which is great, but I was not expecting these to go this crazy. There are 2 sun gold cherry tomato plants in here, and we are out here picking these like every single day. They're delicious. My daughter will eat them straight from the plant, and she is very picky with fruits and vegetables because she's 8. So I love the fact that she can come out here and help me pick them and eat however many she wants. So I'm definitely gonna start using this trellis again. I'm going to plan to use it every year for some more pole tomatoes because I like how I can kind of gently tie them up the trellis and then let them kind of spill over the side. And if they get too crazy, like they're kind of laying on this bed over here, if they get too crazy, then I will just trim them up. But honestly, this bed over here, it's not shading it out too much. In here, I've got some bush beans, and I'm reserving this bed for some of the lettuce I'm going to be starting very soon for my fall crops, some of the spinach, just to prevent some of that early aphid pressure before it cools off too much and they kind of start to wane for the year. Back here, we have you used to be able to walk through this area right here. You can no longer walk through this area here. So it's become kind of challenging to pick some of these tomatoes here, but that's because I've let the tomatoes go a little bit crazy. And then the ground cherry I have in the bed right here in the center has also gone very crazy. That one was very, very, very slow to start. And now it has completely exploded with growth. I was not expecting it to be as wide as it is. It's very much a sprawling plant. So I really recommend this one for if you've got like a big open area you need to fill something out with, especially if you're like waiting for a perennial to develop somewhere, or if you've got something that croaked and bit the dust and you need to throw something else in. The ground cherry is looking really great. And for this one, you come in here and you pick the papery husks after they fall off the plant. So I need to get out here and do all my picking today, but it's like a tomatillo where they're in these papery husks, and then you don't eat the husks, you actually eat what's inside. Let's take a look here. So this is what it looks like when you open it up. You get these little ground cherries. So they're not cherries, but they taste a lot like cherries because they're very sweet. They're even sweeter than like a super sweet 100 or a sun gold super sweet cherry tomato. They have like kind of a pineapple-y flavor to them. There are different varieties too. So I have had some that I like, some that I don't like. So I'm hoping that I like this variety because we're gonna have a lot of them. And if I don't like this variety, I will find something to do with it where it kind of masks the taste. Because sometimes the taste I find is just a little off, but sometimes it is just perfect and really does taste like cherries. In this bed, we also have what has been an incredibly prolific green pepper harvest this year. So we've got green peppers all in this bed. These bad boys are huge. We just came in and picked a couple the other day. I'm letting some stay on the plants to turn to other colors because they will turn to other colors. Some of these are actually canary bell peppers, but most of them I think are revolution green peppers. And we've given away so many of these peppers, and people have complimented us on these peppers like more than I thought a green pepper could elicit compliments from. They are so flavorful, they are so delicious, and they are absolutely huge. So I will definitely be growing the Revolution green pepper again. I don't remember how I found it. I think I got these from Fedco Seeds, which is one of my favorite places to get seeds from. They weren't cheap. Seeds weren't cheap, but with the number of peppers they have produced, it's just incredible. We've been using them for fresh eating, for taco nights. I've frozen a bunch to use throughout the winter, so I'm definitely going to be growing the green Revolution peppers again. Another thing I'm really happy with in this bed is our cayenne pepper plants. We have 2 of them, and they have been producing tons and tons of cayenne peppers that I just love to dehydrate and then food process up and make into our own super hot red pepper flakes because I love spicy food. I love spicy things, so I throw it into everything. So we are back here at the edge of the raised beds. This is how everything is looking. Sometimes I look at it and I think, I cannot believe how much we've grown in this space. And other times I look at it and I think, oh my God, this is so much work. Right now is one of the times where I'm looking at it and feeling proud and happy about how everything looks, and just really looking forward to seeing how things develop into the fall as things start to cool off in the next month or so. Now for our patio / pond bed here, we've got this big arch trellis that I put up this year. This side has Christmas lima beans and this side has Virginia groundnut. I do think I'm going to dig up some of this Virginia groundnut and move it over here next spring so I can just have this all be Virginia groundnut. It gets really pretty pink flowers and the tubers of them are edible. That's why it's called a groundnut. So I'm really excited to have added that to the yard this year. We haven't tasted them yet, but much like the sunchokes, I can like anything if I grew it and figure out how to cook it the right way. Then we've got a bunch of strawberries that have spread like crazy over here. This has kind of just been the patch where I'll be out here working and notice a berry and I'll pluck it up and eat it, which is always super nice. I find that sometimes I hear people complaining about how like, oh, well, when I grow strawberries, I don't get enough strawberries at once for like a meal. But for me, like when you buy them at the store and you get a big thing of strawberries, I feel the pressure to eat them very quickly or to freeze them because they go bad so fast. Whereas if you grow them in your yard, I can come out here and pick like 5 strawberries and put them in my daughter's lunch and throw in some blueberries as well. And they're super fresh. And then in another couple days, I might have that happen again. So to me, it's like really ideal that they're not putting out all of their berries at once and they're just kind of giving us a trickle throughout the season here. I will probably come in here at the end of the season after I remove the annuals, probably in another month or so. I don't know, this one's looking kind of sad right here since it's getting a little leggy and hot. I will remove these and then I'm removing the oregano this year as well and kind of take stock of what's in here and what I may need to add, if I need to thin out these strawberries at all. I'm definitely going to be removing this coneflower and putting this somewhere else in the yard because that was only to fill out space this year while the boysenberries took off on this trellis and then while the goomyberry shrubs took off. And these have, God, I think they're like 10 times the size of what they were when we planted them last fall. They've had an amazing year and they're just going to keep getting bigger. So they're going to fill out this space really beautifully. And we no longer really have a need for the coneflowers here now that the boysenberries have taken off and the strawberries have kind of covered the ground a lot over here. I am actually considering, if Walmart still has them, getting another one of these trellises or maybe 2 of them and putting them next to one another and just making this like a berry wall, which is a nice way to kind of separate the patio from the rest of the garden, but we'll see. It's not super high on my priority list. Over here, we've got some lemongrass, which I like to put in a container because I'll try and overwinter this since it is not something that is going to be cold hardy where we're at here in Maryland, Zone 7A. This is a new trellis that I put up this year that is crazy. It has gone crazy. So this is, I will link the video below. This is a cattle panel that I cut down and kind of curved around the side of this patio here. And it's meant to be, like the actual goal for the cattle panel is to be the trellis for our hardy kiwi vine, which is doing really well this year and is definitely climbing up and taking off. But I didn't want it to look super empty, so what I ended up doing was just throwing a bunch of Christmas lima bean seeds here that I have and throw everywhere every year, and they look so lush and so pretty, and they are helping to replenish the nitrogen in this soil over here for our kiwi vine, but they are also providing what is effectively a really nice shade and privacy screen here around the side of the pergola. I'll show you guys what it looks like over here. In the last tour I did, oh hey Bubby, what you doing? In the last tour I did, it was just starting to fill out, but if you are sitting here in this patio area, it provides some nice privacy and shade over here, but you can still see the nice big sunflowers. So I'm really happy with how this easy project has turned out this year. Hello, mister. How are you? That's my boy. It's my boy. He loves sitting out here on the patio and taking his naps like the old man he is. He's a good boy. And then back off the patio, we've got the ponds. This is a mix of perennials that are still kind of filling out because we expanded this last fall, so I had to redo all of the landscaping, and annuals that I threw in to fill up space this year. So like this zinnia is obviously an annual that's coming out, and I'll put probably a native plant there in its place this fall. We've got an elderberry over here. We've got a couple of native grasses. Then over here we have the fennel, the goldenrod, which is huge, and amaranth to kind of fill up space while that switchgrass was taking off. So this is going to be a work in progress over the next few years as our perennials establish and I kind of decide how much annual planting I need to do every year. But I'm really happy about something my husband did here. So we've got 3 rain barrels back here that end up having 150 gallons of water capacity. So when it rains, they fill up pretty fast. And what he did was he took a little hose and he buried it just like a couple inches in the mulch here. And then it comes out right here so that when we turn it on, see if you can see it down here. When we turn it on, it fills up the pond. So the pond definitely evaporates pretty quickly when we don't have rain and when it gets really sunny. So we don't like using the hose to fill that up. So this is a super easy solution. All I need to do is turn on that little spigot, and thanks to gravity, it will slowly fill up this pond. And when I need to drain the rain barrels, because I know we're getting a lot more rain, what I will do is I will just what I call flood the pond. So I will completely empty the rain barrels, and then all of the excess ends up coming out over here on the shallow end to kind of water the plants around the pond with nice pond scummy fish poopy water. And then the other thing he's done that's really cool is back here it's kind of a mess. I need to come in here and do some cleaning up. But this is where the pump is. And the pond pump, he basically, so he has connected the overflow from the pond pump to a hose. So what we can do is when he comes in and cleans out the pond pump, like roughly once a week, he can come in here and turn that spinner and agitate all of that good, disgusting stuff that plants love. And then we've got the hose out right now because we're due to do this. And then I stand back here and I can water all of our blueberry bushes and other fruit trees back here with our pond scum water when he needs to empty out the filter and clean it out. So I just like, that's the kind of stuff I love it when he does, because I don't think like that. I would haul back just 5-gallon buckets of pond scum water when he cleaned out the filter. And his brain is always like, how can I make this easier? How can I automate this? So that is an amazing use of resources. And again, when we do that, we take a lot of water out of the pond. So what we'll do is take that water out of the pond and then drain it back in from the rain barrels. So it's a nice little system we've got going on with our pond and some of our homemade fertilizer. Back here are berry bushes. We've got blueberries back here. A lot of them have really taken off. We've got some native plants that I just kind of let go kind of wild. This New York ironweed. I love New York ironweed. It gets a bad rap as a very weedy looking plant, but I think the color of the flowers is really pretty, and I like how tall it gets. I need to just gently like stake it up back to the fence here. We've got some perennial sunflowers looking a little floppy. We've got some aster. We've got just all sorts of stuff in here. And then back here, we have our crazy raspberry patch. So I just decided to kind of let this one go wild this year because I'm going to be doing some thinning either this fall or next spring. And we've got tons of raspberries developing on these. So I definitely need to come up with a better system of protecting these berries because the birds just swoop in and have a field day when they come ripen. I don't want to be coming in here and like covering up each cluster individually with an organza bag, though I will if I have to get my raspberries. But what I want to do eventually is remove some of them because I've got 3 different varieties in here. And one of them is a floricane variety, meaning it only fruits on second-year canes. So it can get kind of confusing when I'm trying to thin out the patch, not knowing, well, this variety over here, I can cut down this year's canes, but the variety right next to it, I can't cut them down because I need to leave them up for next year to fruit. And luckily I can tell the difference between them because the heritage raspberries over here, they unfortunately have lots and lots of thorns, so they will prickle you. But the encore raspberries that are floricane raspberries over here, they have really small, if not completely bare stems. So if you look at some of these stems, they barely have any spikes at all. So that's how I tell the difference. I need to figure out how I want to isolate the floricane raspberries so I can better take care of them next year. But everyone said when you plant raspberries, they are going to go wild. And I'm here to tell you that is correct. I will tell you that as well. But I'm also here to tell you that the birds will eat a lot of them too. So if you have the space, I knew that when I planted them and it looked empty, they were gonna kind of fall over here, but I want the berries. So I am happy about that now. I need to come in here and chop up this comfrey. This is a sterile comfrey. It's kind of dwarfing this blueberry bush next to it. And there's one on the other side as well. But I love the comfrey for a green mulch. It grows so rapidly and it has such a deep taproot that it's pulling up those nutrients from very deep in the soil. And then I just chop up the leaves and either put them around plants in the fall as a green mulch to decompose in place, or just throw them in the compost and treat them like a leaf compost. Back here, our gooseberries are looking really nice. We have 4 different varieties of gooseberries back here. This one we got berries from this year, and I think that one we got a couple berries from this year. I have the varieties written down somewhere, but I currently do not remember what they are. Let's see, back here, oh, this is an exciting one. So right here, we've got our yellow Ann raspberries. This is a variety of golden raspberry that was developed at the University of Maryland. They do have some thorns, but the raspberries are so freaking good. They are so good, you guys. So I got some fall gold raspberries to go alongside them. So what I want to do is kind of like set up more of a border over here so that this is like our golden raspberry area roughly, and then over here is more of like our red raspberry area. And if they mix, that's fine. We'll obviously figure out what they are when they start growing. Back here, we've got something that's been keeping me up at night. No joke. We've got a lot of bindweed. So all of the yellow here, you can see this is bindweed that I have been treating, because the best time to treat bindweed with any sort of systemic herbicide is when it is big, because it has a lot of foliage that can take up that systemic herbicide in it. I do not like using herbicides. The only thing I use them on is invasive plant removal if other methods don't work, and on really, really stubborn perennial weeds like bindweed. So as you can see here, I mean, this area back here, I treated these 2 spaces, and you can see the remnants of the bindweed, but they were just climbing up the blueberries and just choking them out, and it was getting insane. So I decided to just slowly treat by sections here as the bindweed showed signs of starting to flower. So over here and then right here, I treated last, and so it's slowly dying off, and then I'm going to be tackling the area around the golden raspberries right here. So, you know, we tried lots of different methods for many years, and it did help to beat back the bindweed and slow it down a lot. But honestly, when it comes down to it, this is just such a nasty weed. If you've ever grown morning glory, you know that they come back everywhere, and bindweed is related to morning glory. When you see a flower, you'd be like, oh, look at those cute little flowers. But like, they're pretty in a field far away from my garden. They're not pretty when they're climbing up plants. It's a huge agricultural pest. Like if you're growing, you know, on a farm, like bindweed is a big, big problem, and it's very, very resistant to even like the nasty poison herbicides. So I'm hoping that staying on top of it this year will at least get it to a point of where I can hand pull next year and maintain it, because it's been a lot this year. It takes up a lot of my time maintaining the bindweed area back here, because this is definitely where it's worse back here. This, you could see my peach tree. I gotta come in here probably when it's dormant in the winter and prune it down a little bit to keep it reachable. This is about as tall as I want it to get. So we'll do some winter pruning, prune it back a little bit. But this one, I'm really pleased with how much great growth we've gotten on this one this year. It's really coming into its own. Under that, I filled out the guild this year around this peach tree with, of course, raspberries next to it. Then I've got a black-eyed Susan here, which I will probably end up moving when the golden raspberries really take off here. I've got some yarrow, and then I've got, of course, our living mulch strawberries. So these are some more strawberries that I just kind of come back here and pick as I want a strawberry when I'm working in the yard, because they're June bearing, but they'll spit out some other random strawberries throughout the year. And then we've got a couple more blueberry bushes over here. So I'm really looking forward to this area being blueberry alley. Once the blueberry bushes get bigger, I will put up some sort of trellising system on these raspberries and not let them go as crazy as I let them go this year. They got kind of floppy. I didn't do any pruning. And that was just kind of by design, because we had the space and I had to prioritize my tasks in a way that wasn't going to drive me crazy. Over here, back to bindweed alley. This is the area that we have been working on this year. We had a lot of vinca minor back here, so we decided to smother off all of this area back here, and we're going to be treating some of the bindweed. We're going to be treating the vinca minor that breaks through, that did not respond well by dying to the pulling and the sheet mulching and smothering we did. So we've just been slowly working on this area and planting things around our wildlife pond back here. We've had some frogs move in, which is very exciting. I love having the wildlife pond back here. Our elderberry has really filled out nicely. This is the native elderberry that we have here right next to the pond. I'm going to prune this to be more of like a tree format next year, but I wanted to just let it ride this year to see how big it would get. This back here is a weed tree that we will eventually have taken down once the pawpaw back here and the persimmon get much taller. So we're just kind of playing it by ear. We did limb it up recently so it wouldn't hang down so much into the yard. But now that the red bud that we have back here has gotten much bigger, it's definitely providing a lot of great shade back here. So the redbud was one of the first trees that we planted, and I love red buds. It's a native tree here as well. It's such a gorgeous tree. Really early season pink, like carnation pink, Barbie pink little blooms on it. Very early in the season, so a nice sign that spring is coming. This is, I've talked a lot about this Titan squash tunnel and how excited I was to get it because I needed something that could handle loofahs. It is struggling, honestly. It is struggling right now. So it is, you can see it's kind of leaning. Now, I don't know that a cattle panel would have done a better job. I think what I need to do is anchor it in place in the back with 2 T-posts so that it's not like flipping forward like it is right now. But we have gotten a couple loofah that are growing on it, which I am deeply, deeply excited about. They blend in a lot like cucumbers and zucchini, but we've got 2 pretty good sized ones here. And our growing season isn't long enough, I think, to let most of them dry on the vine. So we are going to try oven drying them. My friend Amber at Sustainably Amber on Instagram, she oven dried hers last year, even though she's in Texas and has a longer growing season. So I'm gonna try that this year as well. We got lots of blooms. We'll see what happens with the rest of the growing season here. We have some more raspberries. I put some Joan J raspberries over here because they are thornless. And over the years, I will probably try to convert the majority of our raspberries to a thornless variety just because they are so much easier and more pleasant to pick. Our columnar apple trees that I was so excited about, one looks so good. Okay, one never looked good and I think might be dead. And this one back here, it looks awful. It's not dead though. It looks awful. So I'm hoping that if I keep it watered, it will rebound next year because I did just plant these this spring. But it's kind of crazy how you can plant 3 at the same time and they can look so different throughout the growing season. But this one is looking nice. So we'll see what happens with that one next year. Our bean teepee and our plum tree over here are looking very bean teepee-ish and plum tree-ish. I love this plum tree, but he has been a bit annoying with his weird growing going off to the side. I did some pruning in the summer just to control the size of this one and because he was leaning so much. And I think we're gonna have to do some serious pruning when it's dormant this winter along with the peach. But our bean teepee here, we put this in because we had a big spot we had to fill out when the companion plum tree we had for this one croaked. So I wanted to fill up the space with something that was useful and that my daughter could play in. So we made like an actual functional bean teepee. This is covered with Christmas lima beans, much like our cattle panel trellis up by the house and the patio. And this is just, it looks so good. I love it so much. I'm probably gonna do this again even next year when we don't have a space to fill out because it's such a great use of space. This is just bamboo poles with some landscaping stakes and then some paracord at the top. We are really happy with how things are kind of coming into their own this year and really establishing themselves in the garden. The vegetable garden has been very prolific this year. I actually decided, and I have held to this promise to myself, I decided to weigh everything that I harvest from the garden so I can get an idea of exactly how much food that we are growing here. So I have a little notebook and I have a little kitchen scale and I've been weighing everything. So I will share all of those totals at the very end of the growing season for everything that we harvested for early spring and then summer and then fall. And I think that'll be a really neat experiment in showing exactly how much you can grow. I hope this is inspiring to people. I mean, I hear people all the time talk about wanting to buy, like, I want to buy a big piece of land and have a homestead. Well, guess what? You don't want to jump into that. And it's not very attainable for a lot of people, us included. So work with what you've got and get creative and try and come up with solutions that work for you and your space, no matter how big or small, because we've definitely shown that that is possible here. And then it can be super rewarding, maybe even more rewarding to grow so much in a smaller space. So it's about time for me to wrap up and do some picking here today before dinner. So until my next video, happy planting.